Yamaha Smart are looking at other things other than just your riding on a motorcycle. We look at riding preparation, getting ready for a race meeting. We'll be looking at fitness later on. Today we're going to look at goggles. What type of goggle you should use, what type of lens you should use, and why you should use that particular goggle. The first goggle I'll go to is the No Sweat 2s. This particular goggle here comes standard with a blue lens. You have a different choice of lenses these days, a blue, a yellow, a grey, and sometimes a clear, which is on our roll-off system here. Personally, I prefer the clear lens. I like to be able to see out the goggle what I generally see in everyday life. But some riders prefer to use a different coloured lens, and the reason being is the yellow lens in particular actually filtrates the dust. With a sunny day, you wouldn't want to use the yellow lens. It actually brightens the day quite a bit. But on a dark day with the clouds overcast, you generally sometimes choose a yellow lens. The blue lens does the complete opposite. It actually cuts out glare. It's very similar to a tinted lens, but of a lighter gradient. The other lens we got a choice of is the tinted lens, which is a grey lens, and it cuts the glare out completely on a really sunny day. The things that you need to look for is the shadows on the track. If the track becomes quite full of shadows in the ruts and that, it becomes very difficult to pick the particular line you want to go through. You want to cut that glare out. I'd be going either a grey lens or a blue lens. Next thing that we have to look at with goggles is how much sweat they absorb. These days in high humidity racing you sweat quite a lot. With Scott here they've got the triple layer foam. The triple layers actually control the amount of sweat that goes through the goggle, and the last thing is you don't want sweat falling onto the lens and making it difficult to see. The last layer on the no sweat goggle is what makes it quite comfortable and actually fits up to your face quite well. I personally run in most race meetings the roll-off system. What a roll-off system actually is a very, very thin film, okay, that gets pulled, as we can see here, across the screen at all times. In a long race, a 30-minute moto, when it gets quite muddy and you don't have the opportunity to see very well if the goggle gets full of mud, a roll-off system works very well. It's very effective. On a day where it's a little bit dusty, the ground's quite hard-packed, you might want to choose a tear-off. But the last thing you want to do is trying to race around and not being able to see. Secondly, you don't want to be pulling your goggles off and throwing them, because if a rock comes into your eyes or dirt comes into your eyes, you might as well pull off, because you're actually going to ride around and it could be quite dangerous for yourself and other riders. Last thing that we're going to look at with goggles is actually choosing the right goggle for the helmet. It's not about going into your local store and going, that's the kind of goggle I want. That's not going to work. You actually have to pick a goggle that fits the helmet properly. What I mean by that is basically you should take your helmet in with you when you purchase a goggle, put the goggle on, and make sure it sits into the helmet and firmly up against your face. If there actually feels air coming through in any sections of your face, what's going to happen is those places where the air's coming through, dirt can come through. And if dirt's coming through, it's going to go into your eyes, and it's going to make it very difficult to see. So don't go and pick the nicest style goggle or the best brand named goggle. Pick a goggle that fits the helmet you've currently got. Otherwise, if you're going in to buy a new helmet and goggle, try them both together. Scott make goggles for all types of helmets, for a junior helmet and a senior helmet. There's no use buying a senior goggle for a junior rider. You can't grow into goggles. The other thing that we look at is to try and keep the dirt out from our face. These days with the new 4-strokes on, the thumper racing that's going on, there's a lot of boulders coming at you. Scott make two different nose pieces that actually protect the nose. Most of the helmets are quite open, the ventilation is very good, but you need to protect your nose and a little bit of your mouth. The last thing you want to see is a rock come through and collect your nose or mouth. Scott make one for their normal 89 model goggle and also for their new high voltage goggle. Okay, that's it with goggles. Just remember guys, not enough protection is basically putting yourself in a predicament where you can hurt yourself, whether it's your eyes or your body. So stay safe and ride well and enjoy the rest of your racing. Thanks very much.